We're not working on the screen. I don't think we have any.
So, yeah, the agendas are not going to be on the screen. That's why you've got a hard copy. We've got some technical problems. And you'll be able to see on your screens what I'm working on as we go through the work plan. And then after this, we'll have our regular meeting.
Oh, good.
Let me just check with our technician. Is it possible to get that on the screen overhead? Let me try that. On?
I see, we don't essentially.
Yeah. Oh, I got it. There it is. Yeah, okay. We're on the screen now, back behind you. Okay. So, I was thinking about the format of the work plan document. It's an 11 by 17 Word document, and it's in tabular format. If any of you have any suggestions about how this could be clearer, I'm open to them. What I've done so far is just where I've made a red line here, it's only to reflect the current city commission goals and objectives, which are in the current packet. And so you'll see that they're largely the same as the previous city commission goals, but we hadn't updated those in a while. And so you can toggle back and forth, but I'm going to keep the red lines on. And the way our document is formatted, we have city commission goals, and we have the closest similar NRC responsibility that is somewhat aligned with those goals and projects. If the public goes online and downloads the city commission goals and booklet, there's a detailed description for each one of these things, like the Cove project. There's a more detailed description of that. Industrial lands in the Beaver Creek Road area, tourism plan, et cetera, et cetera. There are 5 goals. And then over on this column, we have our NRC activities, which may or may not closely align with the original goal, but they're what the committee has deemed to be something that we're working on. And the vast majority of these have a ongoing timeline. So the point of this document is that it's working. We can change it at any time with the consensus of the committee and strike things off the list as we get them done. So with that said, do any of you have any questions before I dive in? Okay.
What's our objective tonight?
Well, okay, so yeah, thank you. Yeah, the objective is for us to review the work plan at the beginning of every year and towards the end of every year. And this is partly just so that we're keeping our activities current and prioritized, and also to inform whatever recommendations we want to make to the city commission for the budget in their upcoming retreat, and also any recommendations that you want to put forward formally to the planning commission and to PRAC as well, because under our bylaws, those are the bodies that we are advisory to. Hello, welcome. And so that's the purpose of it. And I don't know how much additional work needs to be done right now, but let's just run through this. So on goal 1, which is under the City Commission to cultivate an environment for successful economic development. And then that includes some projects that are listed here. The NRC's responsibility is to promote community involvement in natural resources conservation. The City Commission also has a goal 2 and 3, which are, goal 3 in particular is enhancing the livability of the community, and that broadly meets objectives of the NRC because the livability of the community is tied to the natural resources of the community and the policies that are enacted by the city. So we try to make sure that we're addressing those and aligning those. Activities under the Goal 1 and Goal 3 include stream and trail interpretive signage, and that can enhance tourism and awareness by both the public that are living in Oregon City and visiting Oregon City. Been a successful implementation of this project through the Greater Oregon City Watershed Council and working with Public Works on implementing those signs. There's still work to be done, and I think we're going to talk about that in more detail as far as unnamed tributaries and creeks go. Are we doing that as part of the work session, Doug? Are we planning to look at that as part of this work session? Or
We could do that,
Or
yeah,
put it
sure.
on discussion
Have you
item
been
for
able
the
to focus
regular?
on, your slide you showed, of
Okay,
course, went over the river to the other side too.
yeah. All right, so
Yeah.
I've got that slide up. And,
Just before we leave
Yeah.
the name there, Public Works, of course, has been a tremendous assistance. We made up a sign for Tour Creek, not aware that it was solely within the county, or at least where it's gone over major highway roads was in the county, and the county has not been willing to work with us on the signs. However, our operations public works manager said the person that deals with signs in the county owed him a favor, so we were able to put that particular sign up. That person is leaving the city, unfortunately, and is going to Wilsonville. But,
Martin is?
yes,
Okay.
Lysy and Thimble Creek, we do not have signage on. The other streams, we do. And we look for, in general, we look for streets that are either arterials or collectors that are more greatly traveled. We've got one on Frontier Parkway. I don't know that that's a collector, but it connects, it is one of the connectors between Leland and Myers Road. So, and other streets pour into it. But I don't know if it's officially a collector now, but we did sign that particular street. And I'll just make if I might make a quick comment. The Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee was taken on a tour of the site where Metro is going to be building the trails. And there's a creek there that the Metro refers to as Tumble Creek. And it has an outfall off of Beaver Creek that's is visible, and we are going to talk about putting a sign on that stream as well.
Tumble Creek, they call it?
They call it Tumble Creek. We'll probably put unnamed on it.
I think we should name it Dee Dee.
What's that? We're gonna name it. There's got to be. Well, that's one thing that we're going to talk about is the naming of streams.
do you know,
Well-
in your work on this, Doug, what protocols there are, if any, as far as officially getting creeks recognized, like by the,
It appears to
GI,
have to basically go through the state, and we're trying to determine what those protocols are.
yeah, all
However,
right.
before we come deeply involved, and the Natural Resource Committee, I think should become involved in this, is to, let me talk to you about what we're thinking in terms of naming streams. We were thinking about going into those neighborhood associations where the streams exist and have a kind of a public input from those neighborhood associations as to what those streams may be. Now, I don't know what influence you have in the neighborhood association you're in, Dee Dee, but anyway.
I have no influence there.
So we were thinking this would be a great opportunity for the public to become familiar where those streams are by being involved in the naming process. We do have a map that shows the. Did you see does that map have the overlay of neighborhood associations?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to pull that up?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Okay. And we'll do that.
And you'll be surprised, I think. about number one, and a number of unnamed streams there are in Oregon City, and number two, this is a GIS map, and they screwed up the name of one of the streams.
Where are,
GIS is not perfect. It's only as good as the people who.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's true.
actually, this is not the format I need to pull this up in. I need to open it with Foxit. There it is. So this
wow.
is the one without, oh, this does
There's a
have the name.
Dede's Creek in there, I see it.
That's the one on Parkway Hills there, Dee Dee?
okay.
So, let's see.
Well, it is,
One right by my house.
I'm gonna take it back, hold on
My
a
house
second
too.
there.
Where you live?
Right here.
Oh.
I can move around as need be.
Well, this is not the GIS map, I guess, because
Right,
the
this is
Singer
a-
Creek is named, is on the right creek there, but the GIS map has another creek labeled Singer Creek.
Ah.
So this is not the GIS map. So this is accurate, and so actually, what you see in the blue are the named streams, and what you see in the orange are unnamed streams.
Name streams.
I,
Yeah, we're close to them.
It looks like it laid this,
You're over
they
here,
have
right?
it,
Yeah.
it named her.
I think some of these streams actually are named. But in any case, it gives you a pretty good idea of the number of streams that we have here.
It's like.
Yeah, I can navigate, I'll go from Park
Sign on
Place
that
and
one.
navigate down.
Yeah, we do.
Giant Creek.
That's right, there is a sign on that.
So there's Park Place. You can see Holcomb Boulevard there.
Now, do we see, does this have either Life Sea or, I don't see it, but
So-
Life Sea, what's the other one?
Let's see, Levsey would be, yeah, okay, so here's Levsey Road. And I think we call that Tour Creek.
Yeah, that's one we have a sign on.
And then, are you talking about a
Isn't there a
tributary
sign?
that
Well,
comes?
Thimble Creek and Life Sea were not, we've indicated them, they are, I think they're outside the
One
city.
down here or not?
Yeah, Thimble would be,
If I can give you a pointer, Doug, if it would be helpful. At least to point at that big map.
we would need to, we'd have to need, that's Redland Road, we'd have to get down to Beaver Creek Road in order to
Okay.
find Thimble.
Does that mean underground when they have the little
Okay,
black
go
stripes on
down.
it?
I don't know.
There's
See how
no,
these
Yeah,
little
that's
yeah,
good
from
question.
Caulfield,
That's a good question to
yeah,
ask.
back, there's Thimble Creek.
Beaver Creek's.
It appears to go through, it goes through our urban growth boundary, but it's not in the city. I think this one line you're seeing here represents the urban growth
Yeah,
boundary.
it must be
Right,
underground.
right, and
Yeah.
then
Well, that's
this
what
would be the
one
golf
under-
course
acid
area.
one.
Yeah,
And
They can't
then
be
Thimble
caught
Creek
with
is
this
down
low
at the
ground.
bottom of that steep ravine there.
yeah.
Oh, maybe it does.
And it's currently,
Yeah,
part of that is,
But
And
I
it's
don't
part of
think, I don't think it, within the city, it doesn't go under any major roads.
okay.
Is that what the black stripes are? Does that mean those are culverts or
Pipes or
underground?
something. Dash. Yeah.
I think so.
Is that what that means?
I think so.
Black stripes.
On the
Like there's
creeks?
dots on the
Oh,
blue,
okay.
on both the blue and
Well,
the red.
that doesn't make sense because
Let's
Caulfield
look at
Creek
the legend
has
here.
more exposure than that, I think.
Where's our little
There'll be a
directory down
legend
below?
somewhere. Sorry. Let's zoom out a little bit.
Bottom right, bottom left?
You shrink it to find a legend?
Chris Dunlop was saying, I made a map without a legend. There it
Oh,
is.
there it
All
is.
right.
Yeah, it's
Underground pipe
Underground pipe.
Okay.
streams, okay.
All right.
So the, for example, in Caulfield Creek, where you saw those lines, where when they built in the, when they built Fairway Downs, that's one of the subdivisions, we did not have the code that said you can't.
Cover up streets
Sure you do.
anymore?
Yeah, you could, yeah, so so subsequently, a lot of work was done on Caulfield Creek and and in terms of development. I'm a little bit surprised that, I understand the dashed line to the right, this middle portion here, I'm not sure is accurate. But it must be,
Right here
yeah.
along the road.
It may be, those may be developments went in before we
Right.
prohibited,
The more recent developments are over here.
and those other things you see there, I think, are simply culverts under roads.
Right.
The single ones.
Yeah.
So we can't bury the streams anymore.
Right.
Good.
Yeah.
Look at this poor.
So Caulfield flows into Two's Pond, or sorry,
Yeah, that's right.
and
Then out.
then out via that way down to Beaver Creek. And let's see, unnamed tributaries outside the
Could you
UGB.
pull that back, go back there a little bit? The purple there, I'm not sure what that purple is,
This?
down below on Beaver Creek.
Oh, that.
I didn't know we had city land on Beaver Creek, but maybe we
Is that
just,
purple city land?
well, I meant within the
Let me look at the
urban growth
legend
boundary.
again.
But I don't know what the purple represents.
Legend.
UGB.
UGB, so we have a piece of the UGB.
And the other
that's-
is the city
It's got
boundary.
Beaver Creek.
This is the city boundary, this brown.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, so that must be
This is what a-
associated with.
That's a weird UGB. Just a little sliver there.
And so,
be associated with
can
a
we,
public
can we go
utility.
back up and see if we can see Livesey?
Yeah,
Since that's one we called out.
Livesey?
Yeah, or Livesey or whatever it
Yep,
is.
that's a
So-
really good canyon.
yeah, the Park Place, this is the city limit now, this is the urban growth boundary, this is Livesey Road, Tor Creek, Abernathy Creek, and
So I don't see Livesey actually labeled here.
which is Livesey Creek? Is that one that actually comes down from Livesey to? I know that where the road,
I think it's on the map. I'm wondering if it's the, whatever it's tributary. I wonder if it's,
Livesey goes right through Park Place Village, and there's Livesey Road, and you can see it kind of here and there. And
is it a tributary to Tour Creek? or
it's
do
a
you know?
tributary to Abernathy.
It is a tributary to Abernathy. So,
oh, so is
I don't know
is it-
I don't know where Tour Creek came from. Did somebody previously name that? I never knew that was called Tour Creek.
yeah, it is a formal name,
Okay, all right.
yeah. And anyway, we
Well,
did.
maybe Livesey Creek comes into and becomes Tour Creek. Maybe I'm just,
Well, I was going to say, bring the map
Canyon.
down a bit, since
Yeah.
it's going directly into Abernathy. It's,
Livesey Canyon is a deep canyon there, Park Place Village.
Right, yeah, and these are all in
Deep
ravines, so. So I don't know which of these tributaries is Livesey, or even if it's
Tour
mapped,
Creek, I never knew it was called Tour Creek.
but that must be one of those two because the others are. Should we keep,
Tour Creek goes into Abernathy directly.
yeah, so where Livesey comes out on.
I think Livesey Creek I think Tour Creek is really Livesey Creek. I think that's what's
Okay.
going on. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that would make sense,
Okay.
because it comes out right by the intersection of is it
Okay.
Livesey or Livesey? It's an ongoing debate.
We could do it Livesey.
Yeah, I've heard it both ways.
I say Leipzig.
I think Livesey. I think that's what Shaw Spady called it too. But
Yeah, but that wasn't on her property. What does she know?
It's like Cooch and Couch Street, you know?
all right, so that comes out and it, and then
No.
and then Abernathy. Sorry, Redland Road is a county road, and then it enters back into the city over here.
Were you here when we started this conversation?
No, I wasn't. I just walked in.
We're talking about coming up with mechanisms of naming unnamed streams in Oregon City. And the orange ones that you see there are the unnamed streams. The blue ones are the named streams.
Yeah, and the map's also got the neighborhood association
call 'em?
names on it, so.
Yeah.
Are these are the unnamed ones likely seasonal?
DD Creek, there you go. I like it.
Seasonal, or are they?
Yep, I like it.
That's,
This is,
it's a possibility, but they might
Thank
not,
you, Adams.
they might be year-round, yeah.
There
Right behind
are,
that.
yeah, there are some that
Wedding
are,
Chapel,
Yeah,
and that's creek.
there's
zoom
some
out
that
a
are
little bit.
year-round creeks.
yeah,
And coming out. Yeah.
So that's,
Sure, McLaughlin.
Lights in there.
yeah, so here in McLaughlin neighborhood,
And
and that's what we used to call occasionally High School Creek, but I don't,
Yeah.
Look at how big that thing is. That's a
Yeah.
huge.
mostly pipe.
yeah,
Huge
and,
drainage.
and that's, yeah, that's, and it goes directly into
We have
Abernathy.
a sign on that one though.
And it,
Do we?
So right by the
yes,
Abernathy
yeah,
Center?
Yeah, we have a sign on it.
Oh, what do we call it?
I think called it Abernathy.
No, we call it, we put stream crossing on.
Oh, just
We did not,
crossing.
we did not put a name on anything that didn't have an official name that we knew of.
Okay.
My neighbor has a creek that runs through his basement.
Yeah, and
So-
then,
And it
what
goes
did you call
across down the road and my
we just named it stream
Yeah.
crossing.
Goes right through their basement.
Oh,
I think that's on my walk. It's always written Molten.
Yeah, unless it had an official name, we didn't.
I thought you called that high school
there's a-
creek.
Storm
No,
sewer,
no,
storm
we
sewer,
didn't-
and even
we didn't
some
name it
of
at all.
your water running
Oh.
under there. I'm like,
But I thought that's what it was.
It's not
Yeah.
an official name.
Okay.
I think this
all
is
right.
I mean, it happened to go under the
Right.
stadium land of
Yeah, I
high
know.
school.
Right.
Is that steam land right there?
Yeah.
It comes
It's like
out
you
and-
calling one of our streams Fisher Creek, it's not an official name.
Right.
I haven't called any of your,
It's piped under the
Right.
football field and then it daylights.
What was the stream that
So-
goes through Hillendale?
That's why
You
it's
gave it a
got-
name.
oh, that was, Fish.
Fish,
Well, but
Fish.
somebody
Comes
had a
under
sign
again
there
and
one
then it comes
time.
up and then
But
it
it's
goes
not-
back.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not an official
you know,
sign.
I know, I
official
understand.
name. Anyway, but it can be that
Do
name.
you want to keep scrolling south?
Well, I think it gives us an idea of actually the
How many
number
streams?
of tributaries
Yeah.
to streams here that in
Yeah.
fact we don't have names for.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, and like I say, it'd be great to involve the neighborhood associations, but
It would.
what I'm
think that's a
suggesting
good
is,
idea.
Barclay Hills assemblage, there's two major stream corridors in there.
right,
You know.
to actually, to have perhaps both the Natural Resource Committee and the Oregon City, Greater Oregon City Watershed Council to go before the commission to propose this effort. It really can't come from us, we don't have authority to do it. But I think it would be great if we went to them, discuss what the
Yeah.
intent is to get neighborhood associations
Right.
involved in these creeks that aren't named.
Okay, let me write that in.
That's
Work
squirreling.
plan.
Really offended by Mud Creek. Mud Creek. That's what goes through Hilldale, those
Well,
wetlands.
you could be also upset by Coffee Creek because that falls is almost always clear except right
That's-
after a
that's
major
true.
event.
That's true.
It's rarely brown.
That's true.
Probably down in Kenema it's brown, but
But Mud Creek going through Hilldale, those ponds and semi-developed wetlands that are in the Hilldale Park.
there's nothing.
Beautiful.
Mud is part of our.
Well, siltation.
Mud is within our.
Siltation creates wetlands. I'm good. We're good.
Some of our wetlands are muddy.
Let's hope they are.
We had a question from the audience.
Yeah, I had just a quick question.
Come on in and introduce yourself. And incidentally, I'm going to.
Join us.
You go ahead and tell what you've done in terms of this committee too, while you're there.
Oh, okay, well, I did apply to be on the committee.
Yeah, that's what I wanted you to say.
And Doug knows that because we're both involved at the Environmental Learning Center at the college, so helping them out there.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
So my name is Mike Hamilton. I'm a retired professor from UC Berkeley.
And you are related to the president. You are related to the president of Hamilton.
Who knows?
Oh, okay.
I haven't had his genetics done. I just know where I came from. Anyhow, my question was really, and then I can tell you a little bit more about myself, is about whether those streams correspond to USGS blue lines.
Oh, yeah.
Are every
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of them on the USGS maps? Or are they
Yeah.
some of them?
Yeah, I think they pulled them off. I used to say there was on the GS, on the actual GIS map, they put Singer Creek on the wrong creek. This one has it on the correct creek.
But not
I'm
GIS,
going to ask you not,
USGS.
I'm going to ask you not to tell you about yourself because there will be interviews and that's when you
Oh, okay.
introduce
Respect that.
yourself.
Anyhow, Mike-
Otherwise, we don't want to have you biasing us.
I recently moved to the neighborhood here in McLaughlin neighborhood.
He's from California.
Oh, like everyone else. And if not, they're from Massachusetts and the New England areas. I moved in the migration of 78.
There you go. All right. Well, my kids, I sent them to Lewis and Clark and they never left, so. That was the problem.
Marcus.
So now I'm following them up.
So, yeah, you have other questions then?
No, I was just curious if those were USGS Blue Line streams, which are officially on the federal maps.
Yeah, yes, they are, and
Okay.
one of them, the Singer Creek name got put on the wrong blue stream. This is probably our maps in terms of the stream, but the label was put onto the correct
Okay.
stream on this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, okay, so we'll hopefully sort this out one day. And then work with the neighborhood associations on naming, and then determine what the protocol is for making it
Right.
permanent. Going a little bit south again.
I have a question, I'm sorry. Do we have a vacancy on NRC?
Yeah.
So the two terms that will be expiring are Bill Clark's and Dee Dee's.
I've expired, yeah.
And
been taking 2 month
you've indicated
leaves.
that you won't be
I'm gonna be
reapplying,
gone
so,
anyway.
but everybody else is
Okay.
still,
But the point is, once those seats, even a person wants to continue on, they have to go through the application process.
Right.
and the deadline for the applications is October 12th.
But Bill has indicated he will not, for health reasons, will not
Okay.
be reapplying.
And we will miss him.
Yeah.
I hope he still continues to stay involved.
I
informal.
do too.
Yeah.
He's been an asset.
Okay. So as we scroll down through the neighborhoods,
Your term is up to?
getting closer to the
Continue.
southern
Make a decision.
topographic terminus of Oregon City that drains down into into Beaver Creek.
I tried the other day.
And Mud Creek, largely intact.
Yes. I was surprised about that.
Yeah, me too. And then Caulfield, at least on the west end, where it flows across the college property and the other private lands south of the college, and we're going to be discussing that because of the Myers Road extension as well, at least in terms of how that relates to the wetlands nearby. And then Beaver Creek
Sure where Myers Road was.
flows into,
Hagen is, I think, was.
Oh, okay, okay.
what's this lake down here?
That's,
Is that the man-made lake in off Beaver Creek?
Yes,
Is that
Yeah.
I think that lake is gone now.
that lake is gone, it blew out.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they replaced it without a permit, it blew out, and then they were replacing it without a permit, and they discovered it was being put back in, and so it was stopped.
Wow.
I should know the name of that lake. Well, that.
Waldo or something,
Now it'll be,
weird.
and now it has, that dam was a barrier to fish passage, and steelhead are now going into the.
I'm so glad, because that was a horrible barrier.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
And Bill Clark lives right around here, I
Yeah.
think, so.
I will.
He lives right where.
I will comment on this section here.
Yeah, 99. He lives
Metro
right
Regional
there.
Government is coming up with another levy, and the person that's involved in trying to identify additional areas to expand and talk to our coordinator of the Greater Oregon City Watershed Council, and he was interested in this property, expanding into this area here. Metro owns a lot of land in the Willamette Narrows area, and including land on top of the ridge there on the other side of the river. And so, that
Below the
might,
golf club.
yeah,
That's very good. Those are very important areas.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So what you're saying this levy, I didn't mean to off track, is that in the imminent future or
yes, probably, yes.
2 years out or something?
I think, is it on the current ballot, or is it,
Good question. I don't know.
it might be on the current ballot.
Okay.
Sorry. I was just concentrating on it. So all of these creeks,
All right.
unnamed or named, do fall within the Natural Resources Overlay District. There may be a few exceptions, but I think that's largely the case. And subsequently, they require either type 2 review or type 3 review if there's any development going on where those streams are located. And,
Can you shift
yeah,
to the upper left? No, well, go that way. I said it wrong. We're going down now. Go straight down.
you want me to
Straight
go
down.
up
No.
north or south?
Yeah. Bring the
or
south
south?
up.
Okay,
Leland Road there.
Toa Vista, let's see.
Myers, Leland. And that's where Leland's going down.
Yeah, this doesn't indicate where there's been a lot of subdivision in this particular
Yeah.
part of the city right now.
Notice this unnamed stream, non-culverted, that's going into Mud Creek there. That stream, I will tell you, the developer that worked that area has done, I don't know what happened. The homeowners association does have some trail going along that stream, but it's nicely vegetated. There's some blackberries in there, but for the most part, it's a nicely vegetated stream. This is one of the ones we put a sign on. It should be Frontier Parkway somewhere there, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I think
That's it there, I think. I
Yeah.
think that's Frontier Parkway. And so we do have a sign at that location.
On the other
And
end?
it's had some water flowing through it all summer long. I go by it frequently. So it is a perennial stream. It's kind of a trickle towards the end, but it still has water in it, and it's a real nice stream. And you
Yeah.
should see it's not culverted.
And, yeah, the HOA owns the land and maintains that pond as well, which has beavers in it, or did 4 years ago.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, there's just
Yep.
such a potential to get people involved in this thing, and there's lots of opportunity.
I think it's a
Can-
great
can-
project. I mean, I think.
Can you swing over near the college and show us the senior high school interface with the college? Did you do any signage in that area? You guys?
The only sign we have is the one on Coffeewood Creek where it crosses Glen Oak Road.
Reason I'm asking, we all know about the general terrain in that area is kind of generally the headwaters of Newell Creek. It'd be neat to have on that school property.
Well,
The kids all hang out next to that.
Yeah, but that's identified by the college. We've got the sign where Newell Creek leaves the college.
Leaves the college.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking for high school purposes. We need to have them wake up to what's the source. They really are, you know.
Well, it's,
But I'm not asking you to do it. I'm just thinking it'd be neat to have that high school element.
yeah. Caulfield Creek does it run through
Caulfield
the
comes from
high
there
school
too.
itself?
Well, it kind of comes from that farther down.
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, our decision was to go for major
Yeah, I understand.
roads, so.
You did a great job. You guys done a really good job. That's my whole point.
And I say where Caulfield Creek, there, where it crosses, I don't know if it's at the first crossing or the second crossing, we have a sign there on Caulfield Creek
Yeah.
on Glen Oak Road.
Here and here.
Yeah,
All right.
and then we have a sign on Newell Creek where it crosses Beaver Creek.
Okay. So is there anything more on this
Wow.
section of the work plan that we should add?
Well, what I'm suggesting is, what I've suggested is to include the interest on the part of the committee to actually have a stream naming process in which the neighborhood associations are involved, and actually to include that as a goal. Is that okay with
I
everybody?
like
Yeah,
that.
it
Yeah.
is. We need something
Yeah.
to
We need to start
wrap
naming
our
them.
arms around here, I think. Just above that was some talk on your work plan here about interfacing with other interpretive activities.
Okay.
You know, I did a series of walks, Dorothy helped me with them, which
Yeah, they're
all of them went well. People just loved it. And I'm just wondering whether NRC-sponsored nature walks could be something we do. I don't know. I'm willing to
Yeah.
train others. People, you know, we did 3 of them. didn't
Yep,
we?
I thought 4.
Maybe
I
there
went to
was
3 of them.
one way or the other.
Yeah.
Then I did one in Gladstone about
Could
3
you
months
pull up the
ago.
map one more time? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
People love these walks
Want
when
me
you
to
do
zoom out?
natural
Yeah.
history.
Now,
Natural history.
bring us west into the South End area. All right. Okay. South End Neighborhood Association area.
Yeah, it's a little odd because South End Neighborhood Association is north of.
Yeah, but okay,
Hazelbrook.
now, hold it there. I think we should be in here. I wanted to point out.
Excuse me.
Don't, stay
Oh, sorry.
right where you are.
Excuse me again.
There's Oak Tree Park. Yeah, this orange area,
Orange.
you see two gray areas there, bordering an area that's,
By Deer Lane,
that's in the
right
city.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Point on.
That,
Oh, okay, right.
yeah, the segment there in that gray piece that sticks out there just like a rectangle. It's probably a neighborhood association again.
Right.
There are wetlands around there, and they're
right.
pretty good condition.
Right.
And they actually have a pedestrian path that goes on one side, and then the road goes on the other. But we also have there's also a city detention pond located at this particular area, and it's a great walking loop that's there, and
Is there trails?
they build a path on one side.
Okay.
Yes,
Oh.
and there's trails connecting that to the main street that runs parallel to it. Rose Street or Rose Road or whatever
Rose
it is.
Road, yeah.
Is the road, and then immediately northeast of it, on the other side of the houses there, is a pedestrian trail, I think, that the neighborhood association put in.
So,
Yeah.
would-
There's a big wetland here,
Yes.
and it kind of drains this way.
And I'll tell you something, these detention ponds that we have, I would say about 50% of them that I've gone by in the spring, about 50% of them have red-winged blackbirds.
yeah, I agree. And many of the other ones are so groomscape that the habitat value is not
Right.
there.
Right.
Getting back to my comment though, on our master plan, are you suggesting that, I'd like to see us do more walking tours. If you like this, or this is a tour that you should lead, that's all or something. I'm just talking.
I just happened to walk over there when we were
Right.
doing my hiking, and
But
see
I'd like
streams that didn't over
I'd
there.
like to see us take the lead for public purposes, citizen involvement, doing more walking tours, because people enjoy them.
They really do.
Jared, just another comment on that. Have you thought about putting something like a guide together or maps or a publication of some
You
sort?
know,
and putting it up on the
I'm willing
neighborhood
to lead
association
the tour
websites?
and do the interpretation with others helping. I'm not willing to map it.
Well,
I just don't have the time. I mean, I did map it for the things that I did.
but we could use segments of this map
Yeah.
to show
Yeah,
Sure.
where we're
where
walking.
it is.
I
Right, and
agree.
it'd be good to be able, for the public, if we had a brochure that could show
Right.
people in Oregon City, oh, you can go here for a wetland, so you
Yes.
can see wetland
Like
birds, and you can go
this
here
exists
for.
here.
Right. But what they
Otherwise-
really respond to, and I know this, is they respond to an interpreter walking along with them. They like that better. So, I mean, that's the easy, simple way to do it. The next level of picking the fruit off would be to develop the thing you're talking about, and maybe both go hand in hand. I just think
they
it,
would.
public outreach.
There are people, I know people who would just go out to
Just on
different
a walk.
places on their own, I'll
Yeah.
go walk my
Just
dog
a
out
place,
there.
new places in the city to explore.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
You know, anyway, I've got, you know, you helped me, we got 3 or 4, it's either 3 or 4 routes already figured out that are different themes. And the theme includes cultural history, which ties in well if you add that to it, because people like that. But
Yeah.
I'll try to dig those out and bring them to our next meeting, but I think it should be something we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
Well, not only that, but you know how we have the little dial-up info commercials that you can get, where you can just go from history spot to history spot, text the 4 little digit numbers and get a little
Yeah.
brief. I would assume that you could probably add that texting brief before you walk out onto a wetland. You can find out a little bit about it. I've done every single one of those in our town. They're really good.
Well, we've got, we also got the GIS staff who developed a series of apps that are kind of tailored to specific things. And there's like 20 of them now. You get the main GIS OC map, and then you've got these specific apps. And I think there is a stream or water quality app, but it's not one that's sort of user-friendly. You know, it's a detailed map. So perhaps we could suggest that Katie England and Chris Dunlop help us put something like that together.
Natural
Packaging it.
sites in Oregon City that
Right.
people
Adding-
could go to.
Adding some
Yeah.
photos or some commentary from
Right.
your tour and
Go this time of year, you can see
Put it
these
up on the
birds,
website.
you know, like a little bit.
And you know,
of
there's a
what you
wealth
find
of
there.
people that could add to those little tidbits. It doesn't have to be, you know, I mean, a lot of it can be very layman. And then as people figure it out, then they can correct it and replace it. But in the meantime, we could probably get a little mini story cord done
Well,
on
and
each
the
little
reason
spot.
reason I put that Tourism Development Council thing as a
Yep.
potential supporter, I know their process very well. And the Community Partnership Grant Program through the county, this city receives 20,000 plus keeps 1,000 for administration. And right now, I'm not sure what's happening with money. You're involved, Raw and Marge and so forth, I think, and they've used it for some of the things they did with history, but this would fit. This could be a couple thousand, 3,000 type endeavor, you know.
You're talking about dollars?
The Community Partnership Grant could help pay for this development
Yeah.
of the printed whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have a tourism bent to it though, but that's easy to
Well,
do.
that,
That's
I mean,
easy
that
to do.
attracts people. I mean, I
That's
went and
it.
watched the Swifts,
Yeah.
you know, and we were standing up by the elevator and people would walk by going, what are you doing? And we'd tell them and they'd go, how come there's nobody here? This is like, because Chapman Elementary attracts
Yeah.
Yeah.
thousands of people
Right.
and there's no parking.
Right.
That would attract people to downtown Oregon
Absolutely.
City
It might
as
have been, it
well
might have been a
as.
person pointed out, but I've been down there at that site when there were about 20 or 30 people watching.
Yeah.
So I mean.
Yeah, I
people
mean,
know
I've
about-
seen that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
compared to like Chapman Elementary,
Right.
Yeah, they
But
got
that's-
more.
but they do,
But no, it
they've
is-
got more
but it
work,
is
but
neat.
it's
It
still
is neat,
impressive.
yeah.
There were, I couldn't
Yeah.
figure out how they
Right.
could get that many birds in that
That's
little
where a
TV,
news
to be
release
honest, yeah.
and a promotional
Right.
thing to let you know, and an interpreter
Right.
would have made it a tourism event. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I went down there with a group of Girl Scouts. 'Cause
Oh.
they put on Oregon City Chit Chat if anybody knew anything about birds, and I go, okay, I don't know. So I went down there and helped them figure out what everything
Well,
was.
we could
It
have
was
a
really
we
interesting.
could have a Box Swift Day.
We could,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like a week.
Well, there's a sign city, there's a
Well, I'm
sign,
thinking a specific event
Yeah,
associated
yeah,
with it.
that would be good.
there's a sign sitting. I went in that alley. My dad used to have a store right there, and I went in there, I hadn't been in there in 30 years to look at the back of his store, which is right at the
Where they still
chimney.
have it. Oh,
There's
no,
a
they
sign
did.
sitting
Of course
there,
they
Swift
did.
Watch.
But
But
yeah,
I went.
You know anything about that?
I've never seen it.
yeah, maybe it was.
It's,
And
but
then it
it's,
was so cool. I
it's
took
like
my
you
husband
take
down
out a
there.
teepee sign and put it on
And
the
they were
curb.
telling everybody.
It's sitting there, right, the chimney's 100 feet away from it.
I knew.
Is that where these 30 people were gathered? I don't know.
But they were there right in front of the elevator looking.
On
Oh,
Middle Street,
okay.
just down from the old high school.
Anyway,
And they used to
wow.
go in there because my
Yeah.
daughter rented the house next door. I remember going, well,
Neat event.
And with like you can see a Sharpshin hawk
and
taking
supposedly there's some other place that might.
They said- I've been with them
Downtown.
one day and I was
That's fun.
sitting right on the
And I'm
chimney,
afraid,
just
they're
waiting for
doing
the
remodeling.
first few to come
building
through.
over now. There's
They do the same thing with that.
Something
So,
don't find out.
you know, it's called a natural selection. so-
Nature work, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else? I mean, we spent a lot of time on
good.
this one. It's an important one, but we got a lot of things to go
Yeah.
through.
I think, yeah.
I know that whenever we do ivy pools and stuff, we always announce that we're gonna do nature walks and not
Yep.
walks and talks after the pool. We probably grab in an extra 10 people
Yep.
each time, because they hang and listen to those.
Yep.
And some people just show up really late just to do those.
Yep.
On the Frontier Parkway, just putting it there, I don't know if
Yeah,
it means anything.
I can
Either,
remove that.
I think at one point we should talk about where there are in fact public paths along streams, but have a
Maybe a
bigger
place
list
to
than
map,
that.
if we had a map like that, so that,
Yeah,
you know, we could put them out here with all the other pamphlets and stuff. and people could
Public
go.
paths or parks?
I think just places where people could
public,
walk
public,
would be
public,
really
yeah.
important, like, where you could,
Really
you know,
hard
be out in
to find, 'cause
nature
I-
and see different
Yeah.
things, I think.
Public
people-
paths next to
That'd be a good thing to
wetlands
have.
and streams.
Are we just kind of looking at this chart in front of us?
Uh-huh.
It says Arbor Day event with $500, Oregon Community Trees.
Where you at?
I'm right, looking across, from the Abernathy, hit all the streams work, in the description or the activity. Okay, now it says Arbor Day
Oh, here.
with $500 Oregon Community, for art related.
We're a little late for
artwork.
that
Did we-
for
has that ever happened?
2018.
Next Arbor Day,
That comes
2019.
up as an opportunity to
Oh.
apply for every year then.
Okay.
And they like to spread it around the communities in Oregon.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, you can always apply and see how it goes.
All right,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
And it's, yeah.
What did
a
Cascade
variety of
Environmental
things.
Group have to do with that?
You know, I don't know. That's not related to Arbor Day. That's something else.
No, that John Runyon, and that's the, I'll tell you right now,
I think that's related to the Clackamas Cove restoration.
the mitigation
That's true.
efforts are, I won't say stalled, the opportunities are going to other people right now, because the city's not responding to what is available. And John, our River Assets Group, you're all on a tour, whatever. Clearly, that's an issue, because if the money starts flowing to West Lynn, now they're applying. In Milwaukee, they're applying. And we were first. I think this committee might have a role to advocate for the city to take advantage of this opportunity while it's still here,
Yep.
We should be.
because I don't know it's going to be
Huge
here.
monies.
Bill was at our meeting last time, I guess, and mentioned that there was perhaps some major changes in EPA's compliance strategies under Trump, but they haven't occurred yet, so mitigation is still required. Like, after, you remember that discussion we had last meeting? That mitigation would go away because it wasn't required anymore. And I checked with a number of people that, including John Runyon, he said, no, that's still a requirement. You know, so there's a bunch of projects that Oregon City is very eligible for. So the question would be, could we suggest that we want to advocate for that, or is that allowed?
Well, I'm sure we can do it. I mean, I don't think anything precludes us. I mean,
Yeah.
the application needs to go through the city commission.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then it's tied to I assume it's tied to the phasing of the development as well.
yeah,
Which the restoration phase is one of the last phases. It's kind of I think it's phase 4, it's talked about, but they haven't applied for phase 2 yet, which is the apartments that are immediately adjoining the cove. And they're indicating that they're going to submit that application very soon, like within the next month.
well, what the River Assets Group is trying to form a portfolio, and I'd love to have Doug, you attend if you can. We have a meeting next Wednesday, or anybody that could, at River Shore Hotel at 9. We're developing a portfolio. These are all projects that are eligible. It's 9 a.m. at River Shore Hotel, the restaurant. And for those that were on the tour, the boat tours that we did,
You say it's on Wednesday?
yeah, it's coming Wednesday the 17th, and 2 hours. And the portfolio is what he feels will sell. If you've got a bunch of projects in one geographic area, that means a lot to the people that would be wanting to solve their problems by expending dollars on
So
their
you're
site.
talking about the Superfund money, basically.
Yeah, and all of its
Not
other
the-
parts.
Not necessarily the Cove money, but the Superfund money.
Well, it's money that's available to solve problems, yeah.
Right, but it's coming because of the Portland Harbor being
Yeah,
Superfund.
but there's other
Superfund,
things out there.
right?
Yeah.
I didn't realize this. If somebody else wants to, or has messed up a wetland someplace, they can purchase mitigation properties elsewhere. So anyway, it's too hard to explain except to say it'd be opportunities. We now have probably 5 sites that I think are interesting to him. And he knows how to do this, John. So anyway,
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
There it is, Harbor Drive. I didn't see it, okay, that's why he was in there, okay. Oh, okay, good.
Sorry, Jerry, what? Did we cover that?
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
good, thank you.
Still on the first page, but that's a big one. Goal 2. This is sort of unrelated to anything we're doing, but it has to do with addressing critical facility needs. You guys were involved with the Public Works Master Plan when the focus was on expanding on the current site. As you know, they purchased the property on First Street, so that current site will remain in the city ownership for now, but I don't know what the plans are, so the plan is to.
I will
move-
tell you, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee has recommended that the city dedicate the upper yard as a park. They voted on it the last meeting.
PrAC has recommended that?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. And is NRC going to want to discuss that?
That's up to NRC. I doubt that any action on the commission side, first of all, the move is going to have to occur and everything else, but to designate the area as a park, just to have it designated. What that park would be, is up to discussion. I would suggest if people want to actually chime in on that designation, that we schedule that at a different meeting.
Yeah, okay. But this particular activity, which was support and be involved with this Public Works Center master plan, I don't think is relevant anymore.
I think you're right, because I don't think there's no Enron on the First Street site, so.
Right, exactly. No. So if, I'll just hit delete, it'll be marked as a change. Delete, where's delete? Somewhere, there it is. Okay.
Okay.
Also, that was that.
I am going to suggest I would go a different, it's not under facility needs,
Okay.
but at some point be involved in the subsequent use of the subsequent use of the upper yard of Public Works. And just put it in there without being any detail about it, but.
Yeah. How should I say that?
Did I hear you say you want to support a heliport there?
That was a dog park. That was a dog park.
Quite frankly, that is really nice parking. It would be nice.
The trouble with changing that park is people want to go through that all the time.
Well, there's a ton of remediation work if you want that to be a park on that plateau. So
Okay.
lots of opportunities.
Yeah, okay. And let's see, tour of the stars of Public Works and City Sites. Okay, I think that's that one. Let's see. Goal 3, enhance livability of the community, Beaver Creek Road Concept Plan. This year, that it was changed to include and prioritize the houseless community members goal for the city commission and address affordable housing, which we're doing through two two methods. One is amending the code to provide more housing types, and the other is to address how shelters are approved in the city, as well as support the efforts of the Oregon City Homeless Coalition. So that's going on. There's been, I won't get too into the weeds how that relates to natural resources, but there has been some discussions through the Intertwine organization that this is a critical component of natural resources stewardship because how you urbanize within an urban growth boundary has an effect on the larger resources outside and within the UGB. But it's a kind of a broad discussion. And there was a very interesting talk about that recently that's on the Intertwine network. I forget the name of the gentleman that gave it, but it was really interesting.
Before you go off this page,
Yeah.
advocate for enhancement and maintenance of Metro South wetlands and North Gateway. I was one with interested in this.
Yeah.
I wrote another email, or I had my assistant write another email to Metro about the wetland condition of it, and I got back this thing, we really don't want to have wildlife or people in that area. So now I'm gonna go see Lynn Peterson soon, as she takes on her role and have a little talk about, because their whole thing is those wetlands serve as stormwater runoff from the Metro South transfer station. And yet it has a trail system, it has an interpretive structure, which needs work and whatever. So I want to have a little talk because 3 years ago, Carlotta and myself and John Lewis and others met there, and we looked at the whole mess around the Metro South wetland, including a pile of boulders and junk and concrete, which is now a highland area. And when Martin said to me, and Martin really helped me with that, he said, I'll help come in with equipment and we'll cover up the boulders for you. I said, with what? He said, well, we got a bunch of terrible soil, we'll bring it in. All right, so we've made that into a hill garden, which is there. It needs a little more work, but it's coming together quite well. I still believe that wetland in that area with the end of the Oregon Trail so close by, and students, 8,000 a year going to end of the Oregon Trail now and paying admission. The buses could easily, some of them go right down there, come up to the Environmental Learning Center. You know, you could have a nice natural history corridor tour. So I will, my name was on it, I'll talk to Lynn. Maybe Doug, you and I can talk to Lynn.
Well, yeah, we can go over and talk to Lynn. Yeah, I think you're right. Another thing that my son uses it for is to go out and get Gambusia for his 55-gallon drums that take care of his gutters.
Oh,
So does have mosquitoes there.
okay.
So you can harvest a lot of Gambusia out of there.
Are there a lot of Gambusia in there?
Oh,
I
heavens.
thought they weren't supposed to be in natural systems that
Well,
connect
they
to
are.
rivers
They're
because they're
They're
invasive.
there.
Put them in for vector control, that's what the mosquito.
Yeah,
you know.
but
History of them.
they're
Well,
not supposed to be in things that are connected to
Yeah.
natural streams.
But that end of the city needs to look good. You've got all the improvements that were made, you know, with the new overpass adjustments and all that, and
I'm not
new
sure-
landscapes.
I'm not sure the Gambusia can persist in streams. They're easily eaten.
Yeah.
That may be, but when I had some, the
Yeah.
vector control came and brought some for a pond I have, which is a clawfoot bathtub in my yard. And they said they could only release them if I wasn't close enough to a stream, or if they washed out, they could get in the stream.
Yeah, that's what I was told.
Because they are an invasive species.
Yeah, they don't
Yes,
touch
yeah.
you, they walk away with their little fish.
The issue is Metro's nature of the neighborhood standards should apply to that body of water and everything around it. And they won't do it because the solid waste division thinks that they control the destiny of that area. And my attitude is, no, you want wildlife and people, you know, to enjoy it. So, anyway, so. Can we name a highland, a Montalvo Highlands?
I'm sure Martin wouldn't say no. Yeah. So what else has changed on this is the addition of the stormwater master plan. Now, we adopted stormwater grading and development standards, which are more detailed manual that
I got a question. We've got the
Sorry.
continued work on the cove development and habitat restoration on an affordable housing list.
Kind of redundant too.
How we do
Well,
that?
I don't even know if that housing is affordable. I mean, I don't,
Well, it's, yeah,
I don't think I could
These are,
live in it. So-
what I need to do is put more horizontal lines in here so that they actually line up with what they're supposed to relate
Okay.
to. And I will make that change. I won't be able to do it right now, but I'll definitely do it.
That is 75% rented right now. I heard that last week, I couldn't believe it, but, and the rent is not that high, $1,500 a month or something for some of them. So anyway,
Yeah.
but that's not quite affordable, you know.
It's,
Oh, no, that's not it. I meant to turn it wrong.
Moratorium.
And
1,500.
so we've got this on the previous previous page anyway, so
Okay.
this is redundant. So stormwater master plan update is in the works with Public Works. That's going to be what we call a legislative file that would be subject to comment, and has to go to the planning commission and then up to city commission and be readopted. And we've needed to do that for a while, so we've got those detailed standards in place, but we don't actually have the master plan update since the previous one. So that needs to happen, particularly with respect to binding in the entire urban growth boundary and how the land use designations for all that have been adopted since the last stormwater master plan. So it really needs to be updated. And then you'll have both the standards and the plan much more in sync.
You know, I think as this comes forward, I think we need to weigh in on it. And I mean, a lot of these detention ponds, it looks like the flow goes directly into the pond, and I'm sure then the stormwater pulling material then is probably filling up the ponds. And of course, you're going to have street garbage entering into there or not.
Right.
When they did the Environmental Learning Center, they put a forebay on the stream. So a lot of that stuff will drop out without actually going into the ponds themselves. Now, the ponds themselves are supposed to deal with stormwater issues too. But if there's any discussion, particularly on the design of the stormwater facilities, I think maybe we want to chime in on it.
And also their maintenance, you know, if you're gonna have some wildlife values, you gotta
Yeah.
take certain steps. Even berry vines are better than grooming to zero.
Yeah, a lot of some of the plantings on some of the ponds have looked really good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would assume that we, if we do when we update the master plan, we're going to look back at the recently updated stormwater standards as well and make sure those are actually right up to date.
Yeah.
So there'll be an opportunity to do that.
And it may well be there are more recently constructed detention ponds that are
Yeah.
dealing with that issue, and I don't know.
Yeah, so the college, yeah, for sure is subject to that. The college did that master plan, and the only standard that they were not allowed to grandfather was stormwater. They could use older zoning codes under their master plan, but stormwater is binding and it has to be current. So, yeah.
well, if we're looking for activities and partnerships or whatever, I know Renee Harbor is looking for things that she could sponsor up there at the Environmental Learning Center as the kind of acting director. I really think we should suggest, I think we should consider in our goals here, establishing a relationship with her to encourage,
The ELC, not with her.
well, the ELC,
Yeah.
with ELC to establish that kind of training of stormwater maintenance
Right.
systems and all that, because,
And they're actually, the team that we've been on are looking at the kinds of training that can occur with stormwater management and so forth. So it's a major thing that they're
Yeah.
looking on. Yeah,
Okay, so.
but we need to put in, a collaborative there.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, can you restate that?
I don't know if that's the best place for it.
Okay, let's see.
Well, no, it is. Actually, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a training program associated with
Stormwater.
stormwater. So Yeah, it probably should go there. Work with the Clackamas.
Collaborative work with
Yep,
ELC.
Yeah, collaborative work with Clackamas Community College's Environmental Learning Center
yeah,
in terms of training programs.
right.
Training.
Now, you put that opposite, I'm linear, waterfront master plan,
Yeah, I know.
and I want to drop waterfront master plan down just a little bit,
Down there.
because I got an idea. All right.
Okay.
Here's my idea, that we collaborate, this group, collaborate with the River, the River Assets and Opportunities Task Force. We have used that plan and everything we've done for a year.
Huh.
We've used that plan that was adopted by ordinance
Is
in
that
2003 by this city.
2003.
I don't know how many plans you adopt by ordinance. That was adopted by ordinance, and we used it as our guiding document. And I'd love to see some help and involvement with this group, you know, and we can bring you an update. You know, if Doug can come next week, that'd be great, but we only meet quarterly. And so if you're okay with the idea of collaborating with River Assets and Opportunities Task Force, we're not approved by the city, but I got 3 city commissioners coming. So I haven't pissed them off yet. I gotta take that on the record. I didn't say that. I said a bad word.
Too late.
That's all right, we've heard public use of bad words already.
We all know he's got the bad now.
I think it's fine. I don't, obviously, we will not do anything without, in terms of putting things forward without going through the city commission, but
Right.
I don't know of any reason why we couldn't put.
And we can't
collaboration. I mean,
either.
We're putting in collaboration, the ELC too,
Yeah.
and we're talking about our body. It doesn't suggest that
Right.
we're actually implementing, I mean, we might implement policy, but we're not going to
Yeah.
do anything other than serve in the advisory role with the city,
Yeah.
but I think that's fine.
Okay, all right.
Okay. And so. What's the organization, Jerry? Full name?
River Assets.
River Assets Group?
River Assets and Opportunities Task Force. ROAR. River Assets.
Nice, nice acronym.
Not
Oh,
ROAR.
what's that?
Yeah. This is Welfare Parks Foundation.
Roat? That's the worst acronym you could come up with. What are you gonna do there? Raft.
Well,
You're supposed to come up with your acronym and then come up with a name.
Oregon City Parks Foundation, OC Puffs. They hate it when I say that, I just said on television.
Okay.
all right.
Goal Force.
Do we draw out anywhere collaboration with the Natural Resource Committee?
Yeah, you mean PrAC?
Yeah. No. So the
sorry?
the Natural Resource Committee collaborating with the Oregon City, Greater Oregon City Watershed Council, excuse me.
That would be good too.
We got it right there.
See, we
Oh,
got this one.
Participate in natural,
And I think
associate with
we've
our
also got it, let me check.
Yeah, we've got it there. We got it a few places.
We got it in a
You
few
gotta invite us
places.
to one of your meetings.
Our meetings are public.
They were planning.
We don't,
I knew
we
you
don't know
took
about them,
cake
so.
When we add, we have to.
Well, we'll get to
Well, I
those.
don't have enough, I just saw a flyer or something.
Okay, so yeah,
Send out an invitation to something.
Oh, that's already occurred.
Oh, okay, I knew I wasn't here, so I went, oh, okay, I
That's
can't
already
go to that.
yeah.
Well, there's the walking tours and
Oh, there it
educational
is.
materials and,
Yeah, there's probably a lot of duplicates.
yeah, I think there is a lot of duplicates
Neighborhood
on there.
Socio on
Yeah.
natural resources focused events, Arbor Day, Earth Day, and Friends of Trees. Yeah, so this year Friends of Trees is doing they're widening the planting program to other neighborhoods. And they're also gonna be doing a pruning workshop, so it's really rolling along.
Which neighborhoods?
I think they said Barkley Hills
Barkley
neighborhood.
and Hillendale. And so the planting day is December 1st, and there's a website. I got to check that, and I'll report. I'll do it today, or
Okay.
tonight, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so what's being involved? The city has got a new communications coordinator, Kristen Brown, and she's really great to work with. Very approachable and loves to talk to people. Anybody on the advisory committee, you can talk to her anytime.
Is that Kirsten? Is it?
Kristen.
Kristen.
Yeah. She's been instrumental in, helping staff distill their messages and make them much more readily available through the website and that sort of thing. And so using social media, which I'm not super savvy at, but a lot of people use. And then I'm not really sure. Information governance used to be called electronic records management. I don't know if you're interested in that or not, but it's a city commission goal. It has to do with how we make our information transparent through public involvement, public records requests and that sort of thing. And so it's a constant process of streamlining that and making electronic records available and easy to get. So, yeah.
This is not related to environmental hacking,
Hacking? What's that? Yeah.
stealing information or whatever.
Yeah, we're trying to avoid that. So let's see, street tree information. I think what we're going to be doing is updating our materials because we've made some improvements to the street tree code. And so that will be something that we're doing is when we're done adopting this latest set of code amendments, we'll update that. And then the Heritage Tree Program, as we discussed was it the last meeting?
This meeting before, I think.
I think we talked about trying to simplify the code
Yeah.
and the process and take off the requirements for an arborist report and make it kind of simpler for anybody who wants to do it, as long as there's owner.
And less expensive, so.
And less
Yeah.
expensive, and as long as there's owner consent. So that's an ongoing activity. We really need to update this section right here.
Is there interest in a city arborist? I mean, financially
I wouldn't
supported?
know until we go through the biennium discussion, the budget discussion, which is coming up in January, and would be potentially a part of any recommendation you care to make. Which I don't think we have to discuss that tonight, Doug, do we?
Well,
That's kind of
I mean, you asked for new staff and so forth, and
yeah.
and we've got certain areas in which we're very much underfunded. I'm wondering if we should simplify the process. I mean,
Which,
in terms of getting your heritage trees named.
oh, yeah.
When I did it, I think it cost me $25 or something, and it got named. Now you got to show it's not diseased and so forth. Well, and I don't know what triggered that. I don't know if it was the.
It was always there, it just wasn't. They just want to get some of the books.
Yeah, the question is.
Once a tree fell down, it,
I think,
The issue is, why do we need an arborist?
I agree.
Right.
If you want, you're gonna take care of the tree anyway, and if
And
it falls over,
so-
blows over, it's a
So
natural.
if that's a requirement to the people designating trees, I think probably we should simply do away with it.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if it becomes diseased or is diseased and the property owner doesn't know about it, the point is they can take it out. There's no, it's not.
And the fee to take it out is so minimal.
Yeah, and so,
That way,
it's-
zero.
we're having enough trouble getting trees designated and to put a burden of cost on those who wish to do so.
Yeah.
I think we should really think about eliminating the arborist requirement. We might suggest that, but not require that people do check with an arborist, but not require that they do so.
Yeah, we didn't discuss 12.32 at the last go-around, did we? The chapter.
We talked about
We
it at
talked
some
about
point in the
some,
last,
yeah.
Did we,
the meeting
did we change the
before.
code? We didn't actually change.
No,
We brought it up, but
we
we didn't.
brought it up.
we didn't
And we
discuss
talked
it
about
really.
it, and we were gonna get more feedback on.
You know, the whole
something
issue,
from
I
the
think, was
city,
to leave the down woody material for some benefit versus make it more.
We
With
did
the lot-
change the natural resources
When
code to
tree
have
falls,
that in
leave
there,
it.
but
If
we.
Right,
not-
but
Well,
that
if it's
wasn't
their
with
front
regard
yard,
to the
they're not gonna
heritage
leave it
trees.
there.
What?
If it's in their front yard, they're not
Yeah.
gonna leave it.
Well, I didn't,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, the natural zones, I thought that was part of our discussion
Yeah,
too.
we talked about that, and
Yeah.
then somehow we got into
Yeah.
the street,
Yeah.
the heritage
Yeah.
tree, and
Yeah.
we talked about not needing an arborist.
Right.
but I
Yeah.
don't remember
Well,
where that
Rick
went to.
Winterholder experience was what? Cost him thousands or something?
Yeah, yeah,
Well, yeah, both to have the tree appraised and then to do the work to make it
Wow.
safe, you know.
and he had to cut the other tree down, because it wasn't safe, and he had to pay a big
Okay.
fee to the city to cut the tree down that was leaning like this over the street.
Okay.
Because I was looking at it when it was icy, and I'm going, oh, that looks really bad.
That was independent of the heritage tree thing?
Yeah,
wasn't
it was.
I mean,
That was a different thing.
Yeah, that was a different
There's
thing.
a street tree
Yeah.
permit situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's, so the code is open right now. If this change is gonna happen in the current code amendment process, we'll have to move pretty quickly.
Right. Define sources of revenue for the grant administration and offset cost of arborist reports and assistance. I mean,
Well, if we get rid of the.
If you get rid of the
if we get rid
requirement,
of that
that's
piece of
gonna
the
work.
code, it won't be necessary.
Yeah,
So do you wanna get rid of this section?
Just as long as we remember what we want to see happen in the code.
well, up above, it would say remove arborist report requirements, so that would take care of that.
And I think the alternative to having the arborist requirement is a little more discretion by the NRC during the process, and then, you know, relying on the current state and photographs that are submitted with it, and,
Yeah,
you know, most reasonable
Field trip.
people to figure out what.
that's right.
Like field trips,
Yes.
yeah, there you
Like
go,
on a field trip, yeah.
yeah. Okay, good. Okay, save. Where are we now? So, initiate recommendations to comprehensive plan codes and policies. So we're right in the middle of doing the code update right now. You've given input on tree codes. So that's a good ongoing thing. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So on the wetland inventories, been directed to include the Kenema wetland in the Natural Resource Overlay District, and there's a few select other wetlands that we have to consider. So that process will unfold once we get the code amendment process finished. And I'm not sure how much budget we need for that. It's really more of a, the delineations have already been done. It's really more of a mapping exercise in-house by the GIS staff. So, and digitizing what we already know.
Make sure they just don't look at vegetation only.
What's that?
Make sure they don't look at vegetation only.
Oh, right, yeah, no, yeah, I agree.
Make sure the street is there, or the wetlands there.
Right, right. Then there's been discussion, there was discussion last night. The planning commission is independent of the current code amendment process, drafting a policy advisement letter to the city commission for implementation of housing code and other code. But they wanted to include a recommendation to update the comprehensive plan based on a budget that can support that work in 2019. And then also that, and so that's, when we talk about that, we're not doing a piecemeal amendment process anymore. We've done that since 2003. The last big comprehensive plan update was 2003. And this would be another comprehensive plan update. And we'd look at all the goals and all the policies and develop one of the ideas I had was, for each land use goal and policy, you could have a subcommittee that's just looking at that one, and then they all collaborate together, because getting your public to engage in all 19 land use goals is a big process. So hasn't been scoped yet, there's no budget for it, but that's something that's ongoing. That will affect natural resources, cultural resources, habitat, wetlands, and all of the goals and policies associated with those. Support coordinated strategy for invasive species management. I know we had presentations from Clackamas Soil and Water District, Sam Leininger, and the Weedwise program. To date, the city has not signed on as a partner to the Integrated Pest Management Program at Clackamas County, which, Bill Clark was been talking about and advocating for.
Right.
We do have, a lot of what we call best management practices in place, public works and parks employees. But that's something you can keep on the work plan and keep advocating for and make apparent. It's really an issue of coordinating and talking with John Lewis and Phil Lewis. Phil Lewis was our community services director. John Lewis is our public works director. And they have management responsibility for city-owned lands, parks, and public works sites. Okay.
Can I say, I might be like way off, but on the invasive species management, I know that it's a huge job for just everyone, especially
Oh,
the
yeah.
city.
Oh, yeah.
But, we send out so many little flyers to our residents. I'm wondering if we couldn't send out something that shows them what an invasive species is and what they should look around at in their own backyard.
Yeah.
And if they would just go out 25 feet from their yard or even in their yard. I was just even looking at just the am I right by saying clematis? I always say the wrong word.
Yeah, well, it's
But I'm
called
watching it, and I'm
clematis,
thinking,
not a small.
people are pruning it in their yards as a beautiful thing, and I'm watching
It's a
these
weed.
it's a horrible
I've got
weed.
it in my yard because I look up and I go, oh, I thought I got that out the other
I
year.
know it,
I gotta go back do it again.
if we can identify it, so we can say, if you see this in your yard, chop it down,
Right,
kill it.
tansy. I've got neighbors have tansy ragwort all over their yard.
Right, and I was just driving down Pearl Street here, and I'm going, from here down to Lynn, how these wires even hold up.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Abernathy Park was like, but if we can just even get people to handle just the ivy around a tree in their yard. and
Not
some
plant ivy in
clematis.
their yard.
Not plant, well, I'm not supposed to plant it, it's supposed to not even be coming in
Yeah, I know,
the
but
state, but,
go to the
I see
nursery,
it.
I see it in the nursery stuff.
and the seed stores, and I see it. Yeah, so anyway, but maybe we could just do a little bit more
Italian
community
If
awareness.
we're going to do mailers, my one recommendation is do not make it part of the utility fee. People get a bill.
Oh, I
and they're not
agree.
gonna-
Then they'll be
and
all
they're not-
pissed off.
And they're not gonna look, they don't look at the other stuff.
And I don't know if we could make something
point.
and then go to our
But it
communities,
spreads, and
except
it's-
for our neighborhood communities only have,
And it's almost
the
you can't
people
do
that
that.
are already fighting to do something.
That's right.
I try and
And we
leave it
just-
out.
Well, there may already be materials like this, from
Oh, I'm sure
Soil and
there
Water
Yeah, that's already
District.
there.
Yeah, it's
And
already
It's just a
but
matter
see,
of
like
getting them
people that
into
own
our,
apartments, an apartment
Yeah.
owner,
Boil water,
building
somebody told me boil
owner
water.
yeah,
should be saying, you have to take care of this around your place.
right, yeah.
If we can make it a city thing, saying, you can't let this stuff continue. Talk to developers, they're not allowed to put certain plants in.
now we have to say, okay, we have to remove certain plants out of this, that it's in your backyard, you gotta get rid of it.
I don't know if you can say you've got to get rid of it.
I
You
know,
can
but
highly
sure, if you can,
suggest-
yeah.
A lot of people will get rid of things if they know that they're bad.
No, yeah, but a lot of times you don't even know they're bad.
Yeah.
And I remember my mother used to go, I just love looking at all those fairies in the trees. I'm going, oh, Mom, that's the worst stuff you could look at. But they look like little fairies up in the trees.
No more weeds,
You
Mom.
want a shaming list, don't you?
Yes.
A list of people to be shamed.
So I don't know where we can
Tell
get
them
funding
that
for
they're saying
that.
it's varies a tree, tell them it's really.
I'd have to talk to Public
really
Works.
saves,
Might be
saves
able
us-
Well, I posted some before and after
Initially have
pictures of
something online so
our
people
ivy
will-
removal.
Well, let's,
You know, talk
right,
about
can
the
think
basics.
about
let's
Yeah.
keep going,
Sorry,
guys.
integrated.
Let's
Go
keep
online
going.
and-
Let's keep
and
going.
Add a website, pictures of invasive
And-
species.
Our work session was supposed to be done at 7, so let's keep going.
Well, we're gonna get this thing done though, that's good.
No, I just want to make sure we.
I know.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't get tied
once
up.
we've got this hammered out, actually approving it in the regular meeting is just a
Yeah,
snap.
Just a gay vote.
I'll be surprised
Okay.
by then.
Let's move. Goal 4, what are we doing? Maintain an updated list of NRC priorities to share with Planning Commission, City Commission, and we've been doing that regularly. This is redundant with that.
yeah.
So I think maybe we just add the word priorities and activities. And we can
Cross something off. Yay.
cross something off.
Oh, good, get me out of there.
Schedule joint meeting with PrAC every year to develop working relationship. Have we done that? Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay,
Um,
not this year.
What we should do, and I'll bring it up at the next PrAC meeting too, is to actually identify specific items to that we'd like to deal with and do it in a work session situation.
Agreed.
Maybe we did do it. Oh, it was Planning Commission, not PrAC.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we had a
Sorry.
joint session with the planning commission.
Yeah,
Yeah, because of course there are areas of mutual interest between the two groups. And if we could
Right.
just identify specifics so we have something to focus on when we have a work session.
okay,
We
so,
can have those recommendations coming from us as well as PrAC as to what might be involved in a work session,
all right.
joint work session.
The left margin, Commission Goal 4, Commission Goal 5, Commission Goal 3, if you drop down, go the other way. Commission Goal 3 was in there, I guess. I don't know why, that says Goal 3. Was that Commission Goal 3?
Yeah,
Yeah,
in the left
Commission Goal
column.
4?
Yes.
Yeah,
Seems like we should keep these consistent,
I
the way
agree.
we're labeling them. Because down here, you said Commission Goal something farther down. I'm having trouble, Commission Goal 4.
Tracking it all.
Bottom, see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
goes
what
back
I'll
and
do
forth.
is I'll consolidate and and reorder everything.
Yeah.
And then I'll send that around via
Yeah.
email. We don't have to do it right now, but I'll do it. And then final goal, maintain fiscal health and long-term stability. They've added deferred water infrastructure. So we've got very old pipes in the city and and I remember from 2010, we have to replace at least 2 miles of pipe a year if we're gonna keep up with the maintenance. Yeah.
What are they doing on High Street? Is
pretty
that what they're doing
overwhelming.
down there? They've just got High Street all torn.
Yeah, that's
Doing
part of
everything.
it.
Are they doing that? That's what it looked like. Part of it, like when they're doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, the Park Place neighborhood, the Park Place Park. It's now a storage area for pipes.
So anyway, and then we've just implemented this new permitting and database system for use by all departments now. So that's part of the enterprise resource planning system upgrade. And there's a mouthful. Okay, what we talked about it with relation to these was, what you already talked about was implementation of the waterfront master plan, River Assets and Opportunities Task Force.
Task Force.
Forms year. Okay,
Yeah, and we need them at multiple entries if they address more than one goal.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else?
I'm gonna make a recommendation that you email this out to us and that we take another look at it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I mean, we can,
yeah.
the action, is there any reason that we can't defer the action until the next meeting?
No,
Because this will before we go to the next city commission anyway.
no, that's, no, yeah, that's
So,
fine.
I think we take another,
Yeah,
we take another
sure.
look at it.
Sounds good.
All right, so we don't have to make a decision on this right now, so that's good. And close out of there. And should we move into the regular meeting?
Yes.
So we have to slow down, and they're gonna post on the YouTube video that the meeting is changing to a regular.
Let's take a 10-minute break.
10 minutes? Okay, sure.
I'm leaving at 9 regardless of where we're at.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
think.
leaving at 9
Well,
regardless of where
you
we're at.
notice our actual meeting, no new business, no
Yeah, I saw
old
that.
business.
Yeah.
There are a couple things I want to bring up,
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
fine.
going to be a short
I'm-
meeting.
Okay,
Okay.
The Myers Road thing.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
Good.
That I asked to bring up.
If we don't take a 10-minute break now, we'll do 10 minutes in the middle of the meeting, and I don't want to do that.
I have to run to the restroom.
Okay.
Actually, when we come back, all come back together, we'll start the meeting. That's right,
Okay.
10 minutes.
Hi.
Hey, Peter.